Hello everyone, Darren from DrayTek Australia and New Zealand. As many of you may be aware, DrayTek has software tools to help manage networks, as well as several other handy utilities and apps. In today's presentation, I'll go over each of these, which will hopefully allow you to better manage your network or your customer networks. We'll start out with a look at the network management software available, and then we'll take a look at the apps and utilities, and finally we'll go through the DrayTek Smart VPN Client. Okay, let's start by looking at what network management software DrayTek have available. We covered these in detail in previous webinars, so today I'll just give you an overview of the main features. The first one we'll look at is VigorACS 3. We had a series of 9 webinars covering various aspects of this centralized management software, and I'll include a link to the playlist below. So VigorACS 3 is the latest version of DrayTek's network management system, and it's also the core of the DrayTek SD-WAN solution. That allows it to perform some application optimization and monitoring. ACS incidentally stands for Automatic Configuration Server. New features include SD-WAN, VoIP MOS and SLA, application visibility and SD-WAN policy, and client management with captive portal. It does require a subscription, and license keys are available from 25 to 5,000 nodes. You have the option to try it for 30 days to check that it meets your requirements before purchasing the license key. Just contact our sales staff and we'll tee that up for you. Here's a list of some of the highlights of VigorACS 3. Essentially, it'll help you to more efficiently monitor and manage a large network or many customer networks. Scheduled maintenance tasks can be done in a fraction of the time it would normally take in a large network, and the VPN wizard allows you to set up mesh or hub and spoke VPN tunnels with just a few mouse clicks. For example, to create a mesh VPN network between 3 routers, first enable the SD-WAN function and enter the bulk data settings. Then go to the Monitoring VPN SD-WAN menu and click on the Add VPN Tunnels option. For full mesh nodes, select that option. Then select all the routers to be meshed. Select the VPN protocol to use as well as security settings. Clicking on Save will start the process of creating all the connections. Within a few minutes, the VPN tunnels are created and operational. The tunnel list displays the tunnel type, uptime, traffic flow, and latency details, including the mean opinion score or MOS for each tunnel. And that's all there is to it. If you had to do this manually, it would take considerably more time. Here's a table to give you an idea of the time and cost savings when creating multiple VPN tunnels manually versus using ACS 3 to automate it. As we can see here, for a large network, that can sure add up, saving almost $12,000 for a 500 node network. The software can be run on either Windows or Linux platforms. This chart shows the server requirements based on the number of nodes that will be managed. The processor, memory, and storage requirements increase as the number of nodes is increased. For over 5,000 nodes, it's recommended to use a Linux server. Okay, the next software management tool is VigorConnect. Like ACS 3, it's TR069 based and has many similar features to ACS 3. It's free and can be downloaded from our website. Where it differs from ACS 3 is that it's designed to monitor and manage up to 100 access points or switches in a local network, but it doesn't do routers or VPNs. That makes it suitable for businesses with multiple DrayTek APs and switches located within a building on the same LAN, or any smaller networks that don't require the advanced functionality of ACS 3. I'll briefly mention some of the VigorConnect features. The first is device discovery. Here, VigorConnect will automatically discover DrayTek VigorACS points and switches on the local area network and auto-configure the TR069 settings. For this to happen though, the Vigor devices will need to be at their factory defaults when installed in the network. The next feature is the network overview. Here you can group the devices based on network assignment, such as guest room or office area, and monitor the devices for each network assignment. Next we have the dashboard view. This provides comprehensive details of device status, such as AP online/offline status, SSIDs, channels, and clients. Here you can select a Vigor device to drill down into details for it and see details of its current usage and configuration all in one place. The monitoring feature will notify you if a device loses connectivity or when rogue access points are nearby. In addition, VigorConnect displays CPU and memory usage. Let's now look at what apps are available from DrayTek. These are software applications that can be run from both Android and Apple mobile devices. There are 3 apps available. There's the Router App, the Wireless App, and VigorSMS app. The DrayTek Router App provides a solution for non-technical users by simplifying the configuration process and focusing on the most popular options used in the router settings. It also gives professionals the ability to manage networks from a mobile device. A network can be set up within minutes in just 4 steps. First, connect to the router Wi-Fi. The app will find the router automatically. Then follow the wizard to configure the internet connection. And finally, finish by setting up any Wi-Fi settings needed. The monitoring function provides an overview of the network status as well as detailed information for LAN and WAN and the ability to adjust network settings. VPN tunnels, both LAN to LAN as well as dial-in, can be configured on the router through this app. The example shown here is for a LAN to LAN profile to be created on the router. Additional setup options available in the DrayTek app are firewall filters, route policy, app QoS, and port redirection. On the right here, we have an image of the configuration options you can adjust to create a new route policy. Here we have the configuration options for app QoS. Here you can select the QoS priority for various apps. You can also configure port redirection in the router via the app as well. Another handy app available from DrayTek is the DrayTek Wireless App. This app works with most later model access points and can also be used with later model wireless routers when setting up a meshed Wi-Fi network. Parental control can also be enabled by adding wireless clients to a group and then applying a schedule for when Wi-Fi will be available for that group. Here we have a list of supported access points and the minimum firmware version required. Some access points now include a QR code which can be scanned by the app to quickly give you a connection to start the configuration process. The app will pick up the default SSID and password in the access point when it's in the factory default settings. Using the Quick Start wizard guides you through the steps to set up a wireless mesh network. The first step is to connect to the access point that would be the mesh route by using the QR code if available or entering the SSID and password. Once connected, then select Mesh Route as the operation mode and enter the group name. Then click on Next to start searching for mesh nodes. Once the mesh nodes are discovered, they will appear within the app. Select the required nodes and click on Next to start the process. You may need to wait a few minutes for the mesh to be set up. The time taken will depend on how many nodes are selected. Once the mesh network is set up, you'll see the results showing how many devices have been added. Clicking on the devices icon within the app will display statistics for all the devices. The third app we'll briefly look at is VigorSMS. This app allows you to send and receive SMS messages through the SIM card in an LTE router. There's no need to connect to the router interface to make this happen. It can also be used to check and manage the LTE router via SMS. Tasks include rebooting the router, checking the router's WAN status, and viewing router information. The VigorSMS app can be used with current and previous model LTE routers shown in this list. An application note is available in Knowledge Base Article 7476, which covers the steps required to set up the router to allow you to use the SMS app. I'll include a link to that in the description below. Now that we've looked at some management software and some apps, let's look at what utilities are available from DrayTek. It's worth noting that these are all free and are available for download from our website. Those utilities include Device Finder, Syslog Utility, and Firmware Upgrade Utility. The first one we'll look at is Device Finder. This one runs on a Windows PC and is a small utility that you can use to find DrayTek devices on your network. It creates a list of devices along with their associated IP addresses. The file size is about 4 megabytes and no installation is required. You just download from the DrayTek FTP site, unzip it, and it's ready to run. To use it, first click on the search icon and wait a few seconds for the list to be built. You'll notice here that it shows the model name, its IP address, and the MAC address. You can click on the Go symbol to connect to the device via your web browser. The next one we'll look at is the Syslog Utility. This one's also for Windows devices and allows capturing syslogs from DrayTek devices for diagnostic purposes. Once the syslogs are captured, you can view the results for different categories by clicking on the required tab in the menu. You'll find it on the downloads page on our website shown here. You just need to unzip it and it's ready to run by clicking on the syslog.exe file. To start capturing the router logs, you'll need to enable the syslog function in the router. To do that, go to the System Maintenance syslog/mail alert setup menu in the router. Enable syslog and select the syslog server. Here you'll need to enter the IP address of the PC running the Syslog utility. Next, select which syslogs you want to capture. These will appear under the corresponding tabs in the Syslog utility. The latest version of the Syslog utility now includes wireless logs. This can capture logs for wireless LAN, mesh, roaming and access point management, APM. If you need to keep a permanent record of the syslog, just click on the disk icon to save it to the PC hard drive. You can also capture the log to a file in real time or save the log as multiple files by selecting how often you want the file to be saved. That can be every few minutes, hourly or daily. Another option in the Syslog utility is miscellaneous tools. This lets you send periodic telnet queries to the router to monitor changes. You can add the required telnet commands you want to send or select from the list supplied and move to the right-hand box. Other options include to view code page information, view network information, and view net state. To view the logs generated by the periodic telnet commands, just go to the Others tab as shown here. The final utility we'll look at is the Firmware Upgrade utility. It's currently only available for Windows and you'll find it on our website downloads page. You can use this method when the Web GUI method to install firmware doesn't work well. When carrying out any firmware upgrades from your PC, regardless of the method used, you'll need to ensure that the firewall in the PC is disabled during this operation. Otherwise, the file transfer can be interrupted, causing the router to have a damaged firmware installation. It's also used for the TFTP procedure to install the firmware in a brick device. Another one is if you need to install the VoIP module file in the Vigor3510 IP PBX. To use the firmware upgrade utility, you'll first need to disable any firewalls or antivirus software in the PC, as these can block the file transfer and cause the process to fail. The first step is to enter the device IP address and then select the firmware file from your PC. A point to note is that installing the firmware file with the .all extension will retain the device configuration, whereas installing a firmware file with the .rst extension will reset the device to factory default settings. Next step is to enter the device admin password and then click on Send to start the file transfer. As mentioned earlier, TFTP mode is used to install the firmware when the router becomes unresponsive. For example, in the image shown here, all the LEDs are solid and powering the router off and on doesn't fix it. This is often caused by damaged firmware or a corrupted router configuration. In the description below, I'll include a link to a video that shows the process to recover the router using this method, and also to an application note available in our knowledge base. Quickly going over the steps. First, switch off the router, then using a pointed object, press and hold the reset button. It could be located on the front or back depending on the router model. Whilst holding the reset button, switch on the power to the router. Then wait until the two LEDs start flashing together and then release the reset button. The router will remain in this mode for a short period only. That's the window to use the firmware upgrade utility to install the firmware. The final application we'll discuss is the Smart VPN Client. There are 3 versions available. These are for Windows, Mac OS and mobile devices. These are free and are available from the downloads page on our website for the Windows version and from either the Apple App Store or Google Play for other devices. Several VPN protocols are supported and these are dependent on the platform that is used. For example, the Windows version supports PPTP, L2TP/IPsec, IKE version 2 EAP, IPsec, OpenVPN and SSL VPN. There are several knowledge base articles available that cover different scenarios for setting up the Smart VPN client, and I'll include links to those below. For example, guides for setting up SSL VPN tunnels are available for Windows, Mac OS, iOS and Android devices. With the Windows version, you just need to create a new profile and enter details such as the VPN protocol to use, VPN server details and the authentication details. When setting up an OpenVPN profile, you'll first need to download some additional software from the OpenVPN download site. You'll need to generate a certificate, which is then imported into the Smart VPN client. Next, configure the profile by entering the required details, then select Connect to the remote server. More details are available in Application Note 7462 in our knowledge base, and I'll include a link to that below. I'll also include a link to a video we made showing the steps involved. Okay, to summarise, we first looked at two network management softwares, which were VigorACS 3 and VigorConnect. Then we looked at some DrayTek apps, which included the DrayTek Router App, the DrayTek Wireless App, and VigorSMS. We also looked at some utilities, which included Device Finder, Syslog Utility, and the Firmware Upgrade Utility. And finally, we looked at the DrayTek Smart VPN Client. Okay, that's all for now, but please stay tuned. If you have any questions, we'll be available in the live chat on the right of your screen for the next 5 minutes. For more information about DrayTek products, please check out our website at www.draytek.com.au or send us an email to sales@draytek.com.au or give us a call on 02 9838 8899. Please like and subscribe below, and if you'd like a notification anytime we put up a new video, please select all from the subscribe drop-down menu as well. Thanks and bye for now.